Here's our new design. The old one was not only didn't transfer well, but it didn't do it. This background has direction. It's moving here. You can see a general notion. I had areas with cracks that had to be covered up and decided to put some abstract dirt down. This is the design that now will go over the top of it. And it's only 2 garlics, 1 head coming down, but 1 big leaf coming down. Actually, they grow very much in straight lines. If you want your curves to have strength, you design them with straight lines, essentially. This curve here is weak. This one is strong because I put it in with straight lines. We had leftover paint from last time, and I managed to salvage some of it. I've got enough to put the lower areas. Ooh, this has got paint on it. The lower areas here, it isn't really green until you get about up to here. And these are leaves that have withered and died. I found out from the lady at the waxwing growers that I harvested the garlic way too late. No wonder it was falling apart. I also managed to save a little bit of an earth red out of all the colors and have in the meantime cleaned the dish. We've got the usual dilemma here. Nobody bought me any viridian, which would have been the obvious green to put on top of terre verte. So I am left with what we have, and we're going to see what we can mix. Cadmium green, brilliant neon green. Chromium oxide green, which is the moment you open the tube, you wish you had less of it. It's such a strong pigment, and it's rather a deeper army green kind. That's not the correct description, but more in that direction. And then we've got some Shiva green phthalo, which is going to be, Lord knows, all over the place. We're going to mix ourselves a green that looks somehow organic. I'll let you know how that works. So these are our greens. I didn't actually have very much cadmium green. It's an old tube. There's a little bit here. You can see what I mean by candy. It's just gorgeous. Here, this is looking better. This is the chromium oxide that I spoke ill of, but it might be a good foil for what we have. Here's the phthalo green, and I'm surprised. Let's see if I can pull it aside so you can see. It's very deep appearing here, but when you open it up a little bit, you can see very much a candy color in there, heavy into the blue. So we'll have to be careful with this. And here is some of the terre verte, which we have as the background. Might as well mix some in there so that our colors match for sure. Let's see what we can come up with. Here's a little comparison shopping. We're way too blue. Problem is, this is the color of our background. Also, this phthalo blue, if I'm even pronouncing it right, really looks like outer space. I'm going to save it. One of the comments that I got was about, hey, what about the surface of the sun? And I started thinking, what about outer space in general? This is that cadmium green is dangerous. Okay, we're not very close. Actually, this is the closest to go on the surface. I take it all back. Chromium oxide green. We'll keep mixing. Okay, I've prepared enough. I don't see any upside to this. It's very difficult. Let's just see if we can get something that looks like it's a plant going on here. I actually made these marks with with my fingers. Thumbprint towards the end. I just really am not quite sure what's going to look like garlic in this situation. But at the rate I'm going, I'll be hesitating tonight at 10 p.m. and then turn on the news and not do anything. Okay. Garlic coming up. These guys are growing out of the earth. Let's get them growing up out of the earth. This is wet and wet, my favorite style. These are cloves that have begun to form. They're sitting under here. This is too wet. Wet and wet, too much of a good thing. We've got a problem though, and that is that casein tends to be transparent, which is what we love about it. At the same time, we've got some serious dark areas to cover up here, and we may find that we don't manage that. On the other hand, you can carve casein. If we were being bold, we could just carve those dark areas away. We wouldn't be able to carve the green because it's in real casein emulsion, real casein, true casein, what are we calling it? True lime casein. But we would be able to, okay, let's see if we can give these some shape. Guys, that's all you get. What about over here? Yeah, now here's where we've got our problem with being too transparent. We're coming in here. Looks like we have fingerprints over here as well. I'll give those a little. So we ended up making dirt after all. This is, what was it I mixed? Raw umber. I just used some raw umber to get us going in an earthy vein. And the colors I chose based on pieces of the leaves that had fallen off. Just mixed them up to match. All right, so now we've got a couple of cloves that are growing down here, coming out of the ground. Here's one. Let's put one over here. Ooh, this is, I'm sure there are whole books about how you're not supposed to paint this way. Let's see if we can give them some, let's at least have definition. One thing I don't want is everything so kind of maybe that it's not anything. Okay, so here's another one. Here's some cloves coming out over here. Garlic cloves appearing out of the ground. Those look like it. What's happening? What is happening here? Have I lost more? Lost more color? Lost more? Oh man, if I lose any more chips off this thing, there better not be after all this time. I'll give this a little new dirt color. You be good. Everybody good. Have we covered up everything? Okay, here we're starting out, going up the long bean pole here, and these have very fine striations. I don't know if we can get them, but we'll try. Actually, we should try with something else. I brought out an old friend, a striping knife. In case you ever stripe on cabinets, this is a striping knife. Very old one, not very many bristles, and it makes extremely fine lines. We'll see if we do it. Not getting very straight lines here. Let's go for something lighter over here. Left side, always have the sun coming in. Oh, listen, I'm going to give you the lecture on not having food around. I just brought some food down here, and I'm working with chromium and cadmium. One of the rules of painting is you do not have food anywhere near where you are painting. The old movies where they show the artist in his studio in Montparnasse and he's smoking cigarettes, there's a whole tray full of them. Don't do that. Don't put anything in your mouth when you're painting. Don't have any food sitting nearby. Don't smoke anyway. Anything that you would be putting into your mouth, do it when you're done after you've washed your hands. I wish that when I was doing the original mixing, ooh, there's a nice one, with cadmium and chromium, that I had been wearing gloves. Would have been smart. Okay, so far, looks like an acorn. Okay, let's see if we can get, now, are we gonna chip that brown off of there? You wanna try that? Let's try that. Let's see if this works. This is Casein emulsion, which you can carve, unlike acrylic. Ooh, it's very dry though. It's been here quite a while. The stem is coming along here and has to make it to here. Let's see if we can get this off of here. Oh, it's coming off all the way to the ground. We may regret that. Should have been. But I didn't have the design when I was painting this, and I just wanted to get some ground established. This is worse than nothing. I think we can agree. So much for that idea. Allow me to say one more time, there are wonderful realist Casein painters you could be watching. Please watch them. This is me saving a painting that I couldn't bear to see go down the tubes just because we were trying out a different wrinkle with the medium and ended up with a problem that I hadn't foreseen, namely that it would crack and crumble. The ground would be compromised. So let's see if we can stick some green in here. We're getting a little bit, oh God, these greens are so poisonous. Never fear. Let's stick a little green in here. We're working our way further up the line. Let's get a little bit of green going. It seemed to have a good line here. There we go. All right. Oh, I like that. Let's put a little of that over here. This is still wet. Get a little bit of green in there. So we're not suddenly leaping into green. Get our stripes going. Come on, guys. So anyway, earlier when I brought some cabbage down here to look at the greens and compare, I should never have had food down here. Now that's very smooth, and that's not what we want. I got to get my stripes back. By going all the way through, and how we're doing it. Now these segments have wonderful desiccated leaves coming off of them, so that's going to be fun. Remember I said we were going to do some calligraphy? I thought, I don't think that's strictly speaking calligraphy. To me, calligraphy is painting letters. And of course, that's the number one way to warm up your brush. That's still too smooth. Is learning how to paint letters. There we go. Needed some thicker paint here. We got too much water going. Or if you're a cabinet painter, you can paint stripes. But the old cabinets usually had words on them too. So here's the latest wrinkle. The True Lime Casein, which puddled up here at the top, you can still see the field that has no pigment in it at all, is so waterproof that I can't get the paint to sit down. I've ruined my big line here trying to mess around to get the paint to... It's a look. We're going to leave it. But there you go. We learned a new thing. Okay, let's pull this big one through here. We're going from here to here. Can we get there? From here to here. From here. Oh, Godfrey, from here. Let's just do it. We're going somewhere. Oh, yeah, and then we end up with our same problem that the paint won't sit down. Okay, then. That makes it way more exciting. And we're crossing over here where we didn't want to, where we need to be opaque. Now these leaves do not have striations in the sense that the stems do. They can have two different colors on either side of a central spine. But this one, we're just looking at one side of it. We're not, see, I've got striations. I'm lucky I've got paint on the board. This dude is leaping out this way. Oh, that's crooked. Now, how am I going to make up for that? You're going to make up for that by not putting pencil marks down that you later have to deal with. Just saying. Ooh, now we really have to clean that off. Now we're happy. We've got this nice hard surface. Yeah, if you didn't have pencil marks, just think you would be free to go. And they say that in Japan, in the old tradition, the young apprentices that were going to be cutting a mulberry leaf paper stencil for fabric dyeing had to know the design by heart. There was absolutely no checking your notes. You had to know it by heart. And if you weren't nearly shape blind like I am, which is one of the reasons I dislike drawing, you could do that. But for me, that would be impossible. I would never learn a single design. I'd never get a single one cut. I'd end up over at the indigo vats, which I probably would have been doing anyway as a woman in the old days. Look at that. You can just wipe it right off. Why don't we wipe this one off too? Get that little business off of there. Coming off, coming off. You came off. Good job. Okay. Ooh, we're almost done. This is undistinguished as far as the colors are concerned after all that green mixing. Good heavens. And this leaf is coming off the back. I'll tell you what though. I looked at the garlic very carefully in order to have some notion of how it grows. And that is a tremendous reward. That's the big reward for painting, is that you look carefully at things you otherwise don't even notice to see exactly how they go. And there you go. Okay, guys, we're finishing up here. It's not a dry eye in the house. I had all these fabulous calligraphic strokes planned only to discover that the surface isn't smooth and the paint won't sit down. So, we're getting what we can. We're crossing over here and turning. Ooh, that's nice.